So without any further ado, please help me welcome to the stage Mr. Wilfred Mbuba.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wilfred Mbuba, as Tumi has just indicated now. Now, this will be the first of our masterclass, and it's not going to be rocket science. Cash flow, and I don't know how many times this has been emphasized. Cash flow, if you've got a problem with cash flow, it can make or break your business.
Kobe and Nika. Yeah. At InSolar, we're an energy services company and we provide renewable solutions. We offer solar photovoltaics, rainwater harvesting, and solar hot water systems. So we design.
My name is Mbosi Matigizela and I do corporate sales at BMW Supertech in Durban. We're hoping to do a lot of networking with the up-and-coming business entrepreneurs in Durban. It's going to give us exposure with them as they grow, and also to sponsor. I think it's a responsibility from our side as well to assist where we can as far as the exposure is concerned in our entrepreneurs.
I am Lindani Dlomo, the provincial manager of SIDA, and we are here just to showcase our products to the small entrepreneurs that are here. We are also showing case to entrepreneurs to be who want to start their businesses. Our mandate as an organization, the Small Enterprise Development Agency, is to ensure that businesses are supported from the beginning to any level. We are proud to say our presence in different districts. Out of 11 districts, we are available in 7 districts. That is, even rural areas, they are able to access the SIDA services. One would ask, what exactly is it? Because when we talk about support, we mean a business that is in manufacturing may need the perfection of the product. We test the product, we assist in access to the markets, we also facilitate even exports. We also ensure that business quality, the product quality is focused on. We have quite a number of interventions that we have. One of those may be even the branding of the business, because in some businesses we have noticed that a business may be in existence, but not so many people know about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, once more, welcome to the SMME Opportunity Roadshow, proudly, of course, hosted by Cape Media, of course, in partnership with the Department of Small Business Development. Thank you so much to Durban ICC for ensuring that we're not outside under some tree having this, exchange, but we're actually housed in one of the most iconic convention centers in the country. So thanks so much to also our sponsors, our proud sponsors, BMW, MTN, the National Empowerment Fund, CNBC Africa, URF, Cape Media, the eThekwini Municipality. Thank you so much for ensuring that we have a successful event.
They say sometimes you do not address the functionality scoring items in the proposal. So make sure that you address the functional scoring items in the proposal. The documentation requested as proof is sometimes not always provided. Please ensure that you provide all the information that is requested. At times, suppliers provide outdated or no tax certificates and no BBBEE certificates. Please ensure that they are still, they're not expired or anything, everything is still in order. And again, bidders sometimes do not adhere to the closing date and the closing time. It is important to make sure that we really adhere to all those. Okay, I've been told I've got 20 minutes, so I need to be sure that I don't limit what I want to talk about from the sales perspective. In terms of procuring commodities, just to give an example, we've got under the corporate and professional services, the likes of legal services, training services, banking services, etc. Under the likes of in-flight services, we've got the likes of comfort items like your linen, your headsets, your amenity kits, beverages, be them alcoholic or non-alcoholic, disposable papers, and so on. Under the energy and fleet, we've got the likes of jet fuel, forklifts, vehicle hires, and so on. And under hospitality and media, we've got the likes of social media agency, digital marketing agency. You know which business you're in, so you can go there and register accordingly. Thank you so much. And then with regards to the, excuse me, the sales part of the business, just some facts around the SMMEs is that it is no secret that indeed the SMME has become a familiar front, for the SAA, sort of for the South African economy. So you are very important. That is why government is actually trying by all means to fast track, the growth of SMMEs in this country. So we as South African Airways, we're saying we're definitely noticing this. So we're trying to make sure that we provide travel solutions so that when you travel, you get the discounts, you are able to, reach the points that you want to travel to. I'm just trying to fast track my presentation possibly. In terms of the routes that we fly to, we pretty much cover the world, and where we don't fly to, using our own metals, we have codeshare agreements with other airlines around the world, the likes of Lufthansa in Europe or JetBlue in the US and so on, just to make sure that we penetrate to the entire globe.
Okay. Firstly, when I speak to my fellow CAs who are in their practices and thus are SMEs themselves, and I'd probably have similar advice to you, I always say, don't ever try and be the cheapest, because cheapest isn't always best. Okay? The other thing I say to them is they need to bill what they're worth. CAs study for a minimum of 7 years before they actually get their qualification, and therefore they do have a premium brand, and therefore they often do charge a premium service. However, there's a wide range of small and medium practices and large practices out there. And you can get guys in the big four who charge 2,500 Rand an hour, to the guys who are in one-man practices who might charge 350 to 500 Rand an hour. Or they might have a package deal for you for preparing your books or preparing your tax returns, etc. There will always be people who are cheaper, but not necessarily better. Now, there is legislation which we expect to be coming in future, which will protect business owners from, if you call them quasi-accountants. There are a number of accounting institutes out there who have very good and competent professionals. Don't have to necessarily be CAs. So there is a wide range within the market, but I would urge you, use somebody who belongs at least to a professional body, because that gives you the recourse that if they do not do what they are promising to do, you can come and complain to me as an institute and say, Mr. CA promised me this and he did that. We as an institute will discipline that member. So that is the sort of positivity of having somebody who belongs to an institute. They are accountable. Now, SARS has also stepped in, and I'm specifically mentioning it because you spoke about the tax. 2 years ago, SARS created regulation where in order for somebody to charge for doing any tax work, they need to be a registered tax practitioner, which needs to be registered with a registered controlling body, of which one is SAICA. So if people are charging you for tax returns, ask them who is their registered controlling body and ensure that there is an institute that they are accountable to.
I'll move on quickly on and just talk about the funds. This one is the one that I think most of you will fall in and you'll be more interested in. The first is called the Imbewu Fund. We've got about 6 funds within the National Empowerment Fund that has different objectives. This fund here is to be able to promote the small business person who wants to start a business or expand a business or acquire a business between 250,000 rands to 10 million rands.
Late or non-payment attracts penalties and interest that is provided for in the law. In most cases, our clients come and say, but I didn't know about this, I didn't know about UIF. Today I'm here, I'm telling you about UIF. Because they want to take that and use it as a reason why we must not charge them interest and penalties. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the public service. We work through the regulations. You can have a friend in there, you can be my friend, but I am still governed or guided by the law. There's no way I can waive or make you not to pay interest or penalty because you know me. No, that is provided for by the Act.
Then on national level, provincial level, state-owned enterprises and parastatals, if the request for quotation is appearing in the press, then you would know it would be less than 500,000. If it's to be a tender on another day, it is then in excess of 500,000 rand. So that is the difference between RFQs and tenders. The next stage of the tendering process is where the tender was advertised and now you're collecting the tender. Your job is to compile the tender to exact specifications as well as the instructions within the tender document. So basically, the instructions within the tender document is also your template, your checklist. You'll notice that some tenders indeed do have a checklist included, and you just need to make sure that you follow that step by step, and you will be considered as a compliant tender. When you submit the tender, there are certain rules around the requirements of submission. Now, firstly, you need to make sure that your bid stays a valid bid. When they talk about a tax clearance certificate within a tender, a valid original tax clearance certificate, not a certified copy or a copy thereof. When they talk about that as a returnable, it is compulsory because your tender will not be considered, in fact it will be declared invalid if you do not submit a original valid tax clearance certificate, one that's not expired, right? Then, for those who have done tenders or are going into tenders, a tender document consists of many, many forms, at least 9 different forms. We call them either municipal bid documents, MBDs, or we call them SBDs, state bid documents. And you'll notice that on the right-hand top, they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if you should go to form 7.1 as an example, clause 3 roundabout there would tell you, this is the list of documents as returnables that you must submit with your tender. If you fail there, your bid will be declared invalid.
Producing your product, selling your product, you need to start being innovative. You need to start getting knowledge in terms of what are the new developments in your spaces. Otherwise, you become obsolete. And I think the whole role of a science and technology park is to really create that knowledge economy. I mean, if you look at countries that are, first world countries, and you look at where they are on that scale, they are, your knowledge-driven economies, and you'll find that there's a lot of science parks, there's a lot of innovation, and that translates to more businesses, more manufacturing, more new products, which is then great for the GDP and the countries.
Hi, my name is Faith Sikakani. I'm the Direct Sales Manager for South African Airways.
Tell us a little bit about your involvement in the SMME.
Okay, the future in South Africa is largely dependent on state-owned enterprises in nurturing the SMME. So as SAA, we are committed in providing that assistance and opportunities for the previously disadvantaged backgrounds and actually nurturing and giving support to the SMMEs.
Okay, so let's say for instance I come to your booth or your company. How can I get involved in the SAA?
Basically, from the SAA SMME perspective, we do have procurement processes in place where we actually encourage the SMMEs to first register onto our database. where they can actually start doing business with us. So there is a flysa.com website /.
Somebody gonna sing with me. Singing, why, you say, why, singing, why, you say, is this love, is this love, is this love, is this love that I'm feeling?
My name is Tapelo Mukwena. I'm from Lozolo Juices. We are based here in Durban, in Amazimtoti. We manufacture fruit juices from tropical punch, you name them. Tropical punch, guava, apple, orange, and we produce them from the fruits. So that's the big advantage of our juices.
How big is your company?
Actually, our company is still small, but we are growing. So far, we just 4 people employed, but working hard because we are able to supply almost, we've got more than 20 small shops that we supply. So we are going big.
Is it your business?
Yes, it is my business.
How did it start? Tell me the story.
Actually, this business, I bought it from a guy who was there in Escort. It was not doing well because of the environment. It was too cold there. So the customers were not coming because it was almost winter every time. So that is why when he gave me the opportunity to buy the business, I bought the business. And here in Durban, it's summer throughout the year. So it's doing well here in Durban, and hopefully it's going to spread out to the rest of the country.
So what is your future plans for distribution or expanding?
Actually, my plan is if we can have at least a couple of factory shops, because it's better that way, because you can control how the brand is being distributed out there, rather than only depending on the supermarket. So I'm hoping that having factory shops almost on every big city, it will help. That is my plan.
You know, for entrepreneurs like yourself, what is the #1 skill that you must have?
I would say financial management and also discipline.